Hello, everyone. Oh, hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Amadiah TV presents More Than Meets the Third Eye. So I realize I'm a few minutes early, just a couple of minutes early. But so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to give everyone else a couple of minutes to come in so I don't leave anyone out. Everyone, please make sure you go ahead and like and share this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Woke One says, I'm black. I wouldn't miss this for the world. Thank you, beloved. Okay. Dan said Queen remix. Okay. DJ Queen on the mic. All right. On the 1-2s. Your lives always start with a commercial, Queen. Yes, Mike. That's because now the channel is monetized. Okay. That's just because the channel is monetized now. Okay. So let's talk about it. So here's the thing that I want to say before I get into the PowerPoint. So I talked to you all last week about, thank you, Joe32 for the hearts. I talked to you all last week about narcissists, right? And the different types of narcissism. And at the end of the day, you know, a lot of psychologists tend to think that this is actually a personality disorder. That's what they have labeled it. But I don't think it's a personality disorder. And I don't like to call it a personality disorder because when you call it a disorder of some kind, you know, psychological disorders are defined as abnormalities of the mind that directly influence day-to-day life. Let me say that again. Psychological disorders is defined as disorders that negatively impact or persistent patterns of behavior that negatively impact day-to-day life. Okay, so the reason I don't think, Antoinette says, thank you. Well, thank you, beloved, for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings to you. The reason I don't like to call it a disorder is because the disorder is sometimes caused by chemical imbalances in the brain, you know, some type of trauma, something that occurred or happened to you physically or mentally, basically like a mental health issue. That's what disorders are, in my opinion. With that all being said, narcissism, that's not a mental disorder. People that are narcissists, there's nothing mentally wrong with them, in my opinion. I think they're just wicked and evil. That's what they are. And they have, they feel entitled. They have an over-exasperated sense of self, right? And delusions of grandeur, so to speak. So I don't think that's a mental illness. There's nothing mentally wrong. I wouldn't categorize that as I would someone who is bipolar or schizophrenic or someone who has dementia. I wouldn't categorize it as any of those things. At the end of the day, it's just like someone who's a psychopath or a sociopath. Those are not mental illnesses, though they are personality flaws, because you just have a wicked, nefarious personality. That's the same thing with a narcissist. So I don't think it's a disorder, because the disorder is something that you really can't help until you go get treatment. Now, though, narcissists can get treatment by sitting down and talking to a psychologist or psychiatrist, you know, they can usually get treatment, but they don't, because they have no problem being nefarious. They enjoy being evil. That's what makes them a narcissist. That's part of what makes them exactly what they are. Okay? So with that all being said, yes, absolutely. October says they can choose it. Absolutely. They weren't born this way. This is the way they allow themselves to be. They like to talk down on others, be condescending and critical of others, while their own nefarious actions should not ever be checked. That's how they feel. So this is something that they choose to do. It's nothing wrong with their brains. That's something just, you know, this is something they couldn't help. So I don't categorize this as a personality disorder. I categorize it as someone just being wicked and quite nefarious. So with that all being said, let's get into the PowerPoint. I'm going to share my screen. Everyone, please go ahead and like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you in advance. Okay, types of narcissist, part 2. Now, people seem to be fascinated with the concept of narcissism. Perhaps it's because we're all a little bit narcissistic or know someone else who is. But before you jump to label someone a narcissist, consider that there are actually different types of narcissism. While they all maintain the core characteristics of narcissism, such as entitlement, lack of empathy, and a need for control, they're displayed through different behaviors, and they vary in degrees of severity and danger. And let me also say this, people. Let me also say this. You know, the sad thing that is in the world that we now live in, narcissistic people are often rewarded for their bad behavior. Now, you may see people who, do an interview and they act a complete fool. They curse people out. They talk down to people. They make threats of violence. They act completely out of control. And you may see these people on interviews acting and behaving this way. And then the next thing you know, they have a reality show. Or they may be a new rapper that's coming out, like Bad Baby or Bad Barbie, whatever her name is, Bad Baby, I think that's her. The one that was on Dr. Phil. Complete narcissist at a young age. And now she's gotten famous from her bad behavior. And this is the thing. Narcissistic people are often rewarded for their nefarious behavior. So clinical psychologist and Harvard lecturer Craig Malcolm, PhD, thinks of narcissism as a trait or pervasive human tendency which exists on a spectrum. Now, I absolutely agree with that. It is a trait, and it absolutely does exist on a spectrum because there are numerous types of narcissists. Healthy narcissism. Now, each person has a bit of healthy narcissism within them. This is according to cognitive therapist Alyssa McConnell. She writes at MBG. She says, a person with healthy narcissism will feel proud of their accomplishments and will want to share those accomplishments with others because it makes them feel good. Healthy narcissism is the ability to feel a sense of entitlement and knowing that you belong in certain spaces and deserve good things. These feelings, though, are usually in line with reality. See, people that feel this way and that have healthy narcissism, they're not like the ones who have the delusions of grandeur, who think that they're so much better than everyone else. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself and being sure and confident in yourself. You should be. You should be. Because that comes along with positive thinking about oneself, positive self-images, and high self-esteem. That's what we all should have, despite what other people may say about us. So you should absolutely feel proud of yourself and your accomplishments. And there's nothing wrong with wanting other people to know about your accomplishments. Recognition. There's nothing wrong with that. That simply means that you want to be significant, not just to yourself, but to other people's lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, vulnerable narcissism. In opposition to the grandiose narcissist, these people tend to be shy and self-effacing. According to the American Journal of Psychiatry, the covert subtype is inhibited, manifestly distressed, hypersensitive to the evaluations of others, while chronically envious. They crave people's recognition and get very defensive in the face of criticism. Yes, they feel like they're above reproach, like no one should say anything negatively about them. But they can meanwhile say negative things about others, mind you. And then there's the sexual narcissist. Now, the sexual narcissists have an overly positive, egotistical admiration of their own sexual prowess. This is what couples therapist Brandon Satan, PhD, says. Now, he says they can become consumed by their own obsession with sexual performance and the need for the sexual admiration of others. These people are often very promiscuous, as you can imagine. Some of them are even sex addicts. Sexual narcissists are often serial cheaters. They use sex to manipulate others and may behave violently even during sex. Now, to protect yourself from this type of narcissist, your safest option is to get out of the relationship and seek therapy to help you get through the breakup with a narcissist. Sexual narcissism is part of a three-part narcissism typing system that includes sexual narcissism, somatic narcissism, and cerebral narcissism. None of them are validated by research, but the system has been gaining some popularity as some mental health practitioners use them to further categorize different types of narcissism. And again, pay attention that they're using mental health practitioners. There is nothing mentally wrong with these people, in my opinion. As I have told you, these people are just this way because they choose to. Melanated Brown says, got very jealous-hearted. Absolutely. This is what they are. We call them haters. Somatic narcissist. Now, the somatic narcissists, they derive their self-worth from their bodies. Psychotherapist Christine Scott Hudson of LMFT writes that this may manifest as someone feeling more beautiful, stronger, or fitter than others. Somatic narcissists often obsess over their weight and physical appearance and criticize others on their appearance. They usually ignore the needs of others and only prioritize their own. And if you're dealing with one, Scott Hudson says, avoid displaying emotional responses to their behavior because narcissists feed off of drama. This is absolutely true. Narcissists love drama. They love to argue. Sometimes they purposely start arguments just to get a rise out of people, just to push your buttons and just to tick you off. They love it. Vince I Am says narcissists can sniff empaths from a long distance. I live, dated, and related to a collection of these type of people. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. And here's the thing. Narcissists always want complete control. They want control over every situation, and they will criticize and put down people, you know, and try to make themselves out to be more than what they are. Thank you, Sherry, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings to you. They will do all sorts of things and engage in all sorts of bad behavior just to get what they want. Now, you also have the cerebral narcissist. A cerebral or intellectual narcissist, they derive their self-importance from their minds, compared to the somatic narcissist who derives worth from their bodies, or the somatic narcissist who derives worth from their bodies. The cerebral narcissists get their supply from feeling smarter, more clever, and more intelligent than others, according to Scott Hudson. Now, cerebral narcissists believe they're smarter than everyone else. In an attempt to feed their ego, they will try to make others feel unintelligent. If you're dealing with a cerebral narcissist, insulate yourself from their words. You're never going to win an argument or get to a point where they admit that they're wrong and that you're right. So learn to let it go. Let me give you an example. Fight for Black says, Queen, I divorced a narcissist. I don't blame you, beloved. But let me say this. So cerebral narcissists, they think they know everything, in other words, okay? You cannot correct them without them getting upset. You know, there's certain people that if you correct them, they will block you on social media. Why do they block you? Because they don't feel that you have the ability to try to correct them. They don't feel like you're smart enough. You know, like, who are you to try to correct me? You understand what I'm saying? That's a cerebral narcissist. They don't want anyone trying to tell them anything because no one needs to, because in fact, they know it all as far as they think. They believe that they know it all and that you cannot tell them anything to improve their situation. But what do I always tell you? There's always room for improvement. No matter how smart you are, no matter how educated you are, there's always someone who can teach you something. And there's always someone who's smarter than you. No one knows everything, but the cerebral narcissists, they believe that they absolutely do. And you also have spiritual narcissists. Spiritual narcissists often use their spirituality to justify harmful behaviors and use spiritual jargon to intimidate others. This is what Neo says. Neo is a scholar. Now, he says, you see, the narcissists need to project an idealized version of themselves to escape their broken, insecure self. And she also says spiritual narcissists are seemingly sensitive, and spiritual actions, they use seemingly sensitive and spiritual actions as a way to elevate themselves above others. Let me give you an example. This is absolutely describing someone that we probably hear from often. The spiritual narcissist is the person who will say, they'll brag about having downloads from the universe, acting like they're such a prophet, acting like they're so above everybody else, and talking about their mission as if no one else has a mission, as if no one else receives downloads. And if you actually receive downloads, where are they? What are you using them for? But this is what the spiritual narcissist will do. They'll act like they're so wholly religious or spiritual that no one else can compare, that no one else can reach the heights that they've reached or obtained, as if they have such a devout mission from God, right? Okay, so this is what they'll do. They'll act as though they're so spiritual, you can't even compare to them on any level, that they're famous in universes beyond any you've ever seen. This is the type of things they do, and it's nothing but manipulation. Okay? Now, Neo says that young people or people who have experienced significant upheaval, like a move or a divorce, they're more vulnerable to the spiritual narcissist, captivating dynamic influence. If someone you know uses their spirituality as a tool to manipulate or belittle you, separate from them. Absolutely. Somebody talk black to me, says Dan. Absolutely. Okay? So, like I said, when these people try to act like they, Oprah said that's all wig. Absolutely, it absolutely is. Absolutely. Wig is not only the spiritual narcissist, wig is the cerebral narcissist. Thinks they know everything, will block people from the chat and comment section for correcting them, and all sorts of things, right? And tell you that you don't know anything about the galaxies of which they're famous in. They're a celebrity in the galaxies, and they have a mission from God, and you don't have one, so you can't tell them anything. That's them. Now, the bottom line is narcissism exists on a spectrum, and there are many different types of narcissism, some that are more worrying than others. And if you're dealing with someone you suspect might have a narcissistic personality disorder, the best thing to do is protect yourself in by setting strong boundaries, and ideally walk away from the relationship altogether. Okay? Walk away altogether. And I'm going to change that from narcissistic personality disorder to narcissistic behavior. Because as I said, there's no way that I think that is something they can't control. There's no way I think that's something they can't control. People choose to be nefarious. People choose to talk down on others. People choose to be condescending, and people choose to have grandiose delusions of grandeur about themselves. Like they're just all this and that, and no one else can get on their level. Right? So, Jesus is Black Christ says, stop it, Queen, in chat before I have to confiscate your laptops and phones, LOL. Okay? But at the end of the day, it's all true. When you have people out here acting like they're all this, that, and the third, and no one can correct them about anything, and if no one can correct you ever, that clearly means that you know everything. And I'm sure no one really does. But the narcissistic, spiritual narcissist, yeah, they absolutely think they know everything. Okay? And they get so upset when people try to check them. Fight for Black says, Queen, not only are you the queen of receipts, but you have our souls and minds within your heart. This is incredible. Narcissism is really real. Thank you, beloved, for your kind words, Fight for Black. LeVar says, Queen, you know she got mad because someone said natural is better and said they were programmed and ignorant and yelling as usual, LOL. Thank you for your insight to the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. So here's the thing, LeVar. A narcissist would get mad if you told them that natural is better, and they know that they wear curly weaves. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with wearing weave if you want to wear it, and that's what you choose to do. But don't hate on people who wear their natural hair. And don't call someone who thinks that natural hair is better, because everyone's entitled to their opinion. Some people think natural is better. Some people think weave is better. Now, just because someone prefers natural, you should not say that they're programmed and call them ignorant. Who does that? I'm glad you asked. A spiritual narcissist. Okay? Absolutely, that's who does that. A spiritual narcissist will do that in a New York minutes. Okay? This is what they do. As I said, and the cerebral narcissist. The one who, again, thinks that they know everything and no one can correct them. All right? They don't like critique. Jeff ATL said, Wig hates the truth. Yes, Wig does hate the truth. And that's just the facts. Absolutely. And you know what? People who hate the truth tend to be narcissists. Because let me tell you something, they live in a false reality. That's why I say delusions of grandeur. You know, they're delusional in thinking that they're better than everyone else. I also found it interesting that this same person was talking about somebody committing fraud and putting properties in somebody else's name when they did the same thing. I'm just saying, to their own husband. All right. So I'm just saying, narcissistic behavior, no less. Be Real says narcissistic men are taught to give and provide, share, honor, and supply. Okay, Be Real. Thank you for that insight. Honey 69 says, Lee Harv, you mean messy braids. You all are too much. At the end of the day, Judah Queen says, can you reverse narcissism? Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. You absolutely can. But here's the thing. People have to, first of all, admit that they're a narcissist. And then they have to decide within themselves that they want to change their behavior, right? That they want to change their behavior. So with that all being said, this is what has to occur. If they can't even acknowledge that there's an issue within themselves, if they can't acknowledge and admit that they're wrong for the way they treat people, for the way they talk to people, right? If they are not willing to do that, then they can't reverse it. They can't change, because that shows that they don't want to change. In order to change, you have to want to be better. You have to want to do better, and you have to want to change. You understand what I'm saying? Dan says, it seems like there are not only different types, but different levels of narcissism. Absolutely, absolutely, beloved. Yes, that's why they exist on a spectrum. Okay. Aaron says, I don't have the time to wait. I don't blame you, beloved. I don't blame you. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Now listen, I'm going to be going live on the True Crime channel in 10 minutes. Okay, at 10:30, I'm going live on True Crime, and we're going to talk about this woman who killed her husband and then tried to blame it on her son. She was inspired by the movie No Country for what is it called? No Country for Old Men. I think that's the movie that she was inspired by. So yeah, she tried to pull that off. Now, Vince I Am says most narcissists lack self-reflection and critical thinking skills, and it's impossible for them to be cured. This is absolutely true. But the funny thing is, narcissists, they think that they literally have critical thinking skills. And they'll often tell other people that they don't have them, and tell other people they lack common sense, when really the one lacking the common sense are the narcissists. Because if they had common sense, they would know they don't know everything. And they would know that it doesn't benefit them positively to put down other people. That's only a negative impact. Jesus is Black Christ says, I like the healthy narc, and we can all use some of that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Don't forget to tune in to True Crimes. Queen Amadai TV presents True Crimes. And we're going to talk about this murder. And then we're going on Queen Amadai TV presents The Root of All Evil, and also the Paranormal channel. Okay. Got a nefarious story for all of them. So I hope to see you all in the next chat. Superstar Bella says, this was very informative. Thank you. You're welcome, beloved. Kenya says, narcissists have to hit rock bottom before you can think about them changing. Absolutely. Because most narcissists, they don't see anything wrong with the way they behave. And in fact, if you critique them, they're projected onto you and say, you're the narcissist, that you have demons, that you have bad behavior, that you must be on drugs, you must be an alcoholic. These are some of the things that narcissists will say, that you've been programmed. That's what they'll tell people. Okay. So everyone, please like and share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I hope to see you all in the next chat. And remember, I've got my third eye on you. Peace.